Oh, what a week it's been. You know, if I have to fight one more spider or boar, God help me, if I have to fight another boar, I think I might just shoot myself. Oh, I need a drink. Oh, hello. Who are you? Oh, you're just in from, Darkshore? Yeah, I've been there. I've been there. I've been to Ashen Vale, Red Ridge, and Duskwood, and all over, really. Do I have any stories from all that? Yeah, I guess I have one or two, if you're interested. Yeah, sure. I think I know just the story to tell you. I'll tell you the story of how I went from an humble squire in Northshire Abbey and became a warrior of the light. It all started in a little place called Northshire Abbey with this guy, Deputy Willem Dafoe.
You know how much I sacrifice?
He sends me off to go see Marshal McBride, who tells me that the Abbey has a problem. A kobold problem. We go outside and beat up some kobolds, kill some wolves along the way, and soon enough Marshal McBride has me kicking the snot out of some uppity defiant peasants whose only crime was forgetting they were a cog in the capitalist machine.
None may challenge the Brotherhood.
Having slaked my capitalist master's thirst for blood of the innocent, I made my way to Goldshire, and it was here that I first made acquaintance with the powerful sorcerer known as Gay Rights, who claimed to be the world's greatest homo wizard. And he agreed to aid me on my quest for power.
Whatever comes to mind, I am gay, by the way.
Thus, having made my first hire, and after several adventures through the treacherous mines of Elven Forest, we finally come to the place where I decided to hit the record button on stream. Twitch.tv/ShaleZard, follow me, you fucking degenerates. And so Gay Rights and I set out to kill the boars, wolves, again, and bears who had invaded Elven's borders for no other reason than to turn them into meat for my cooking empire. It was at this moment that I first came to appreciate that the bloodlust I had developed as a cane main in League of Legends would serve me well in the journeys to come. After butchering 1/4 of the entire population of Elven's wildlife, it was time to return to my old stomping grounds, the poor. But before we were able to begin our righteous quest of enforced serfdom, Gay Rights and I were accosted by a woman known as Lesbo. The powerful homo wizard managed to secure an alliance with this sapphic sorceress, and I convinced her to join my burgeoning company known as Thundergut Gary, inspired by a man of the same name. Who's Thundergut Gary, you ask? Some say... Come on, Shale. Some say he's a being of immense power, a sage that lives high in the storm peaks, a guru who waits for those noble souls seeking wisdom and purity. Others say he's a vicious warmonger, the first to turn the world we know to Warcraft. Thus it was that we befriended the sorceress and hoped that our paths would soon cross again.
She was never seen again.
We set out to the local Defias hideout, made ourselves comfortable in their hand-carved seats,
Posture check.
butchered the unsuspecting power couple as they came home for the weekly Stonemasons Association meeting, and reveled in the success of another well-executed hit on Stormwind's uppity lower class. It was at this point that I began to reflect on what I had done. Was it really right of me to slaughter these people? To deprive them of their natural-born right to protest an unfair regime that didn't care about them? Was I the villain for trading their blood for silver? I pondered this question while leading a warband against a pack of gnolls that the local guard department had put a bounty on, and stuffed their leader's head into my bag, using his blood as a palate cleanser for the heavy-hitting questions I wasn't yet brave enough to face.
But this wanton slaughter was only 3/4 of my rise to power. Behind it all, something deeper held my conquests together. Like a fine glue, something so intrinsically linked to glory and power, it should go without saying. Money! In the interludes, where I was able to get back to Stormwind whenever I could pull myself out of the deep despair known as fishing. Or my cooking obsession. I took to alchemy,
discovering a love of creating various types of hard
legal substances. I toiled away to perfect my craft, peddling them on the open market until I perfected the formula for lesser mana potions. I would create enough of those
Fucking potions!
to make sure I had enough money to begin an endless loop of buying and selling, and buying and selling, and buying and selling, until I was filthy rich. I'm never going back to the quarry. Do you hear me? Do you fucking hear me? Where was I?
With Hogger's death and with the Elwyn Defias routed, it was finally time to go to Westfall, as reports of increased Defias activity had permeated the very halls of power in Stormwind. It was now decided that killing the peasantry was to become my full-time occupation for the foreseeable future, and I took this task very seriously.
There's a new sheriff around these parts, you hear?
When I first arrived, I was accosted by the Furlbrow family, whose wagon had broken down by the roadside. They asked me to find food for their horse,
What can I do for you?
as well as help them find ingredients for a dish known as Westfall stew. Although I was admittedly suspicious of the ingredient choices of this rustic culinary invention, I promised that I would deliver them from their plight. After all, a paladin cannot simply serve the wealthy.
Right.
And while I was toiling away on their farm, the good Homo wizard called to my attention a secret of yore. There was, apparently, a secret chicken that could only be acquired by continuously and relentlessly clucking at it until it yielded upon us its bounty. But only if you procure a very special type of seed to feed her first. Remember, even in Azeroth, you should always buy them dinner first. Now, I had forgotten to buy this chicken dinner, as my patented advanced unconformity to interpersonal social meanings self-defense mechanism led me to believe that you have to first feel an emotional attachment to the person before pursuing courtship. But it lets me play WoW so well. It took me 3 separate attempts to finally convince this fucking chicken to give me her fucking egg. Chicken now in hand, we set out to cleanse the farm and surrounding landscape of beasts and malfunctioning machinery. And while I was finally doing something to help the downtrodden instead of kill them, it gave me time to reflect on the teachings my paladin master had given me in the cathedral, about honor, about dignity and chivalry and kindness. But above all, I remembered the most important rule to being a paladin: style. But to be stylish, someone needs a brand, a go-to symbol of their extraordinary talent. And so, while carving my way through the wretches of Westfall, I carved my niche. I forged my icon, the Shale Shovel. After a long and hard day mastering my new technique, Gay Wright and I settled into a
Vacated.
knoll encampment on the cliffs overlooking the Westfall shoreline, safeguarded in our repose by this mysterious champion who watched over us while we slept. But while we were preparing for bed, we were waylaid by a group of fellow travelers, and naturally, I made it my mission to educate them in the ways of Gary in the hopes of adding more employees to his company.
Although most showed no interest. 1. The Paladin save Bandit. Let Gary into his heart. All for a pair of free shoes! It's the least we can do for all your hard work. Following the adage that there's no employee like a convert, he set about spreading the good word of Gary to all who would listen. The sun rose on a quieter Westfall that morning. The gnolls had been dealt with again, the fields cleared of deadly mechanical monsters. But all the same, I hadn't been able to sleep easy. The Defias loomed large in my mind, an ever-present specter of danger to the innocents of Westfall and Elwyn. But then, weren't they innocents too? I mean, once upon a time, at least. They had been stonemasons and laborers, people who rebuilt Stormwind after the Orc invasion. Didn't they deserve some pity? I just couldn't get it out of my mind on the way back to Sentinel Hill. These were people I was sworn to protect as well, but at the same time, I knew I had to see my task through, no matter what my reservations might be. The order was given in the dawn hours of the morning. Find Van Cleef and end the rebellion. And so, gathering my party and venturing forth, it was finally time to end the Defias Brotherhood once and for all. It was finally time to see this through. It was finally time to put this all behind me. In the dead mines. But at every turn we were stalled, with disgruntled peasants from every province standing between us and our objective, willing to sacrifice their lives for a cause they believed in just as intently as I did mine. The tunnels were labyrinthine and winding, but eventually we found our way to the great doors of the Defias Foundry, guarded by an ogre. Our first challenge lay before us. First, distract the bodyguards, then kill the ogre. With their firepower neutralized, he was a large, lumbering target, vulnerable to our assault. Next, the lumberyard. The Defias had hired a large number of goblin wood and metal workers to fashion their ship for them, and we would have to fight our way through them as intensely as we did with the peasants before. The lumber foreman, Sneed, had a giant metal machine whose massive metal saws bore down on us and tore into us like we were paper. With one final blow, the metal monster fell, leaving the small Sneed defenseless against our onslaught. Gilnid was the second goblin hired by Van Cleef, a fearless metal worker and engineer. But in the end, he went down easier than Sneed did. We blasted our way into the subterranean dock the Defias had constructed. The first mate, Mr. Smite, met us on the ramp. He tried every trick in the book, every weapon in his arsenal. He tried every improvisation. But it wasn't enough. Higher up the ramps and scaffolding we climbed, until none were left, and then there he was. He fought hard. He fought bravely.
You two obviously want to cut what a real man has.
But I had something he didn't.
What the hell do you boys think this is?
And so, with one final swing of my sword, with one last shuffle, it was done. The Defias Kingpin fell to the floor, dead as the stones he'd wrought for Stormwind's walls. And I was left standing, and went back to Sentinel Hill with Van Cleef's head in my bag. And though I felt pride in my accomplishments, pride in the valor of my comrades, I knew I would need time to process what had happened. If Van Cleef, someone I had been told time and again was evil, someone running an organization as cruel as the Defias, could be as convinced of their rightful fury as me, was I really any different? At that moment, I didn't have the answer, but I knew I had to go find it. And so I left. Left Westfall, left Stormwind, left the Defias behind me, to find myself. You want to hear the rest? Alright, well, it all started in a little place known as Lakeshire. Hi there. If you reach this part of the video, that means it's over. Congratulations, you made it. This is just me talking now. No script, no nothing. Thank you so much for watching. This took a long time to make, longer than I thought it would when I first set out to do it, and it was a lot harder because I have no experience video editing, no experience voice acting or scripting. I just wanted to do something fun because I was having a lot of fun in Season of Discovery, and I thought it would be really funny to do this. And I was encouraged by a lot of really wonderful people to make it. So especially thank you to them, and also thank you to everybody who inspired me to do this kind of a video. I have a bit of a list down in the description if you're interested. Not that I expect you to be. Anyway, yeah, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Oh, wait, come here. One more thing. If you liked it, hit the subscribe button and share it with your friends. I have a weapon to your head, and I'm telling you to do that. Okay, bye.